This is the Soul Podcast. Slightly less irritating than expats wearing couples t-shirts. I'm King Singjong, reminding you that there is no I in Korea and no F in Hangul. And here are your hosts, Emma Kalka and Joe McPherson.
And welcome to the Soul Podcast. This is Joe.
And I'm Emma.
This week we have Roboseyo with us.
Hello, everyone.
Professor Roboseyo with us today.
Oh, let me change my name there. It's Roboseyo.
Oh, okay. Professor.
I use Zoom for my classes, so I have like my teaching name on there.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, Rob's come here to join with us to talk about the final episode of Ojingo Game, the Squid Game.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk about trivia, the trivia that I've been delaying for so long, and analysis, and everything else that we're just going to wrap this up today.
Mm-hmm.
We'll wrap
so
this
we can
up.
Move on to our next series.
We'll see what that is.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we start talking too much, Emma, why don't you give us a quick recap?
Episode 9, One Lucky Day. The final episode opens up with Kyun and Sang-woo facing off in the last game, Squid Game. They return to the playground where the first game was played, and in the game, a penalty is given to the attacker who must hop on one foot. Kyun kicks sand in Sang-woo's face to remove the penalty before going on the offensive. And because this is a super dramatic moment, of course, it starts raining. The two have an all-out brawl until Kyun gets the upper hand, but instead of killing Sang-woo, he calls for a vote to end the games. Neither would get the money, but they would both walk out alive. However, Kyun just can't seem to catch a break, and instead of going with Kyun's plan, Sang-woo stabs himself, making Kyun the reluctant winner. Kyun is reeling from it all, and in a limo on the way home, he asks the frontman how he could host these sorts of games. The frontman likens the participants to racehorses before Kyun is knocked out. Upon waking up after being dumped, he checks his bank account, seeing he has, in fact, won the money, then heads home, picking up mackerel for his mother on the way. He speaks with Sang-woo's mother, who asks if he's seen him, which he just kind of says, whatever. Upon getting home, we are delivered one more gut punch to find that Kyun's mother has passed away at home, alone. A year later, Kyun has done fuck all with the money, despite promising Sebyuk that he would look after her younger brother. I mean, oh my god, seriously? Instead, he lives in a state of, I don't know. He goes to the bank where the branch manager tries to talk him into a savings account. Rather than agree, Kyun asks for 10,000 won. He has basically been living like a bum this whole time. While drinking himself to oblivion on the riverside, a flower vendor approaches him asking him to buy a flower. He does, but then he finds a Squid Game card on it with an invitation from Kangbu. He goes to a massive building and finds none other than Il-nam, sick and dying in a hospital bed. He was the organizer of the games all along. Talk about a plot twist. When Kyun asks Il-nam why he would do something like the Squid Game, Il-nam says, it was fun. And that one thing that people with too much money have in common is that life is boring, but they can enjoy it through Squid Game. I mean, seriously, what the We also learned that the reason he took part in the games was because it was more fun to take part than it was to watch. Kyun accuses him of murder, to which Il-nam replies, I didn't force anyone to do anything. Il-nam asks Kyun if he still trusts people, then makes a wager, saying if someone helps a drunk lying outside in the snow by midnight, Kyun can keep all the money. If they don't, he'll have to give it back. A man approaches and checks the drunk out, then walks off. Il-nam also reveals to Kyun that he saved him because he made the games fun and brought back fond memories. Just before midnight, there's a siren, and the man from before hops out of a police car with the police to help the drunk, revealing that he had gone for help. Kyun wins just as Il-nam passes away. Ding dong, the witch is dead. Just before Kyun leaves, he asks Il-nam if he saw, and then tells him, hey, you lost. At some point later on, the frontman comes in and closes Il-nam's eyes, which makes me think that he is really actually dead this time. Unlike Detective Nine Lives, who I still think is coming back in season 2. This is somehow a kick in the ass for Kyun, who starts to turn his life around. He goes and gets an atrocious haircut and then picks up Se-byuk's brother from the orphanage. Finally! He visits Sang-woo's mother, asking if she could look after Se-byuk's little brother, and then leaves him with her, along with a suitcase full of a shit ton of money. He then heads off to LA to see his daughter, but as he is on his way to the airport, he sees a man playing dakji with a mysterious suit man. It's Gong Yu, if you didn't know. Just in case, you know. He runs over and snatches the card from the man, but misses Suit Dude. As Kyun is boarding the plane, he calls the number, and upon being asked for his name and birth date, he gives it, then declares that he is not a horse. The poor dude who answers the phone obviously calls for a manager, and then Frontman comes on, telling Kyun that it would be best to just get on the plane. Kyun hangs up, then turns around and walks off, ending the series, yet igniting thoughts that there will most definitely be another season of Squid Game.
And thank you, Emma, for that great recap.
It was the last one. I was just like, let's get it over with.
I like your recap voice, Emma. Can you speak in that recap voice on command, or do you have to
my news voice?
Yeah, do you have to like get into character for that? Do you have to like sit in the bathroom and be like, hello, I'm Emma Kalka, or does it just, or do you just like sit down in your chair and you're like, hi everyone?
Yeah, I pretty much just sit down and I'm like, all right, here it is.
Here it is. Good for you.
And the final game of Squid Game. Episode of Squid Game. We have it face down. The battle to end all battles.
The battles to end all battles. Yes. You know what? And I caught things on the rewatch that I didn't catch the first time because I'm not that smart. So yeah, I didn't get it before that Sang-woo said that he killed Se-byuk because he knew that they would both cancel the game. They would vote to stop the game.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't catch that until you mentioned it.
Yeah.
Because it would be 2-1, right? So that would be a majority.
Yeah.
And he just cannot let that money, like, it has to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Preferably to him.
Yeah.
He can't even let it. He's just, he can't let it go. Sang-woo cannot let that money go.
I think for him, and maybe we saw this in, was it episode 2 where they all go back, right? That the idea of going back to the life he had empty-handed, I think that would be too much for him, right? And I think that's kind of like, that's why everybody, what is it? They said 93% of people came back into the games because the life they had was unbearable, you know, running from creditors and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So for him, the idea of being voted out and going back into that life again, hiding his failure again, all that stuff again, would just be too much.
Yeah. And he was trying to commit suicide anyway before he joined the game.
In episode 2, yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and so
he was like that 46 billion won, he's like, got a reason to live.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know what? And I watched on the rewatch, it just really went fast for me this again. But there isn't that much talking in the last episode. It's just a lot of contemplation and slow things. So I didn't have that many notes. I did note that they did drop them off back in Yoido. They threw them back on the street on Yorinarudo. Yoido Jonghap Sanga. So the build, that's the name of the building. It's one of the Yoido what's the word I'm looking for? Plazas. What's the Sanga arcade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have 2 things to say about the final fight.
Oh, okay. Yeah, please go about that. Yeah. I'm skipping ahead.
Number 1, the part where he throws the gravel in Sang-woo's face and just walks across with a big FU look on his face. That part was totally badass. I love that
cool.
part.
I love it. I was
cool.
like, yeah.
It's just like,
get him.
Yeah.
Here I go.
Yeah. That was an Ode Sue moment.
Yeah, that was great. Although think about how ridiculous it would have looked if he was hopping on one foot during a fight to the death, right?
Yeah.
So they
It
kind of
wouldn't have
had
been-
to.
Wouldn't have that John Wick sort of moment.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Could you imagine John Wick, hopping on one foot, be like, "You killed my puppy.
Totally.
I'm coming
Yeah.
for you."
He's wearing it like John Wick in a clown wig or something.
Mhm. Would have the same effect.
The other thing I actually liked, speaking of John Wick, the contrast with John Wick, that these two guys are not good fighters.
Mm-mm.
And they're just like, you know, they're
Yeah.
like flailing their limbs at each other. It's just ugly
Yeah,
fighting.
when you see
Because-
a real fight happen in real life between people who are just sick of each other, but they're not for fight, it is kind of like that.
If a real fight went on that long, like fighting it is exhausting, and you would be like, your arms are so heavy you can barely throw a punch anymore.
Yeah,
Right? So
your adrenaline
liked-
is just gone.
Yeah.
I liked how ugly the fighting was, because that felt true to me. Although, you know, that thing where like the hero can never just actually win.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like he stops and like so I've seen so many movies, right, where the hero beats the bad guy, he knocks the sword out of his hand,
Mhm.
but the hero can't just deliver the killing blow. Then the hero's got to like turn his back and say, "You just live with your shame," and then the bad guy picks up the sword again.
Yeah, and
right?
goes after
Or Green Goblin tries to get Spider-Man from behind, or like
yeah.
the hero can't just beat the bad guy. The bad guy has to try one more trick and do himself in. Have you ever
we're-
noticed that?
Yeah,
it's
we were
just like,
expecting
yeah,
Sangu to
this
do
again.
that. Yeah.
this again. Okay.
And also we know that place has a roof and it started raining. You know, close the roof.
So, oh, right. Yeah. Because they're back at the original playground where they did red light, green light, which we know has a retractable roof because at the end of that
Yes.
episode, we saw them close it.
Yes, and the evil statue has a Squid Game barrette in her hair.
Mm-hmm.
She does. I noticed that.
Yeah, and
Although really-
also
It's
the
not
obvious
dramatic without
Christ
the
symbolism in there. I mean, obvious. I mean, for one thing, the baptizing and all that stuff, but Sangu ends up with a knife through his hand.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, obvious Christ symbolism there.
I was just like, oh, it's raining. Right.
Yeah,
You know,
well,
it had
yeah,
a dramatic moment without rain.
you got to.
I mean, really, if they had a retractable roof, I would have closed the roof and turned on the sprinklers just to make sure that
just it
Yeah.
was super dramatic.
you got some
Oh, no, guys, it's
nice
sunny.
muddy wet dress shirts, right?
It's sunny. We got to turn on the water. Like,
This is
So-
not doing.
so when
Get
when,
one of the triangle guys with a hose.
when the
dude, there's
Chinese
like 20 of them with hose out.
when the Chinese VIP was talking about how rain comes at the right time or something like that.
Yeah.
He finished it by saying "doofu," and I thought it was an insult. He was like calling the other VIP like, "You dumbass," but no, that was the person who made that quote was a poet named Doofu.
Oh, so it was a poet, not a screenwriter.
Yeah.
What do you know?
Mm.
In my literature class, they call that pathetic fallacy, when the weather reflects the mood.
Pathetic fallacy.
That's what it's called.
Oh yeah, pathetic. Oh, as in, oh, okay, I get it.
Like
I get
pathos,
it.
right?
Pathos,
Mm-hmm.
not pathetic.
Yep. So they
Yeah,
had the
you
rain.
can't have that ultimate moment without rain and mud and
Mhm.
Yeah,
and then Kyun finally gets his chance. He's like, "There's only two of us. I'm about to stop." He's like, "Sangu," and then Sangu's like, "Nope,
nope.
takes it away.
I'm gonna take it away from you.
through
Yep,
No, like
someone's got to get it.
Yeah,
Stop trying to be the good guy.
yeah. It's right because it was like he took Yoon's victory away, but then he also gave him victory. I don't know. It's like
Gave him victory. Whoever survives.
by taking
Yeah.
it away. You
And
took
it's
away
done.
the one thing Kyun wanted. He just wanted his friends.
And it was funny because I really think even the VIPs kind of felt like, yeah, that was anticlimactic. Eh. And next year, hopefully, will be better. You know, it's kind of like
All right.
like Super Bowls. You know, disappointing Super Bowls.
I wonder if they knew that the two were friends.
I don't. They were clueless about a lot of this, so I don't think they really cared. Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, like, if I were a VIP and I found out, like, okay, like the two people facing off are friends, I'm like, this might be interesting because you might go into it thinking, like, oh, maybe they don't want to actually kill each other. Like, who's going to actually do it?
Yeah.
Okay. Question. Which one was worse? The ending of Hunger Games, where Katniss and Peeta, they eliminate the third guy. And they had said the rule change was that, like, if the two people are from the same district, then they can be dual winners. And then the announcer says, "Wait, no, you two have to fight to the death now." And Katniss is like, "Here, just eat the poison berry together at the
We'll
same
both
time.
die.
Remember, we'll both
Yeah.
die." And then like, fine, you can both win.
Yeah.
Was that worse? Or
Yeah,
was this, I'm not going to do it? Was that worse?
Yeah, that's true. That is
Which
true.
one was worse?
I'm not sure.
What do you think, Emma?
I don't know, because like it's kind of hard. I almost feel like maybe Squid Game. I don't know, because I mean, I thought like the whole Katniss I thought was very smart with the whole like, okay, well, screw you, we're just gonna both die.
Yeah.
But she had the smarts to realize, like, hey, maybe if I do this, they'll change their mind. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that was kind of smart. With this, I was just like, what? Oh, no.
Yeah, to me,
Yeah.
but it felt like the author painted herself into a corner, and that was the best
Not true.
thing she could do.
I'm not sure which would have been worse. I
Yeah.
don't know. I liked
Like-
the Hunger Game ending better, but I'm not sure if it was
Yeah.
better or
At
worse.
least, like at the end, Katniss got one over on the villains who put her in that situation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
think
that's- yeah.
Gi-hun didn't get one over on,
Anyone.
the people coordinating the game or anyone. They just kick him like 12 times during the final episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was just like, and that wasn't even the final kick. That was just like
One,
one of the
yeah,
kicks.
it's like the first of a string. Yeah.
Yeah, he was like, okay, well, at least I can go home and use my money to help my mother.
Well, actually, I've got news for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that death was one of the hardest in the series for me. Not because it
Really?
was like a particularly sad death. I mean, yes, it was sad, but it was just like because you weren't exactly I wasn't expecting it, because I was thinking at this point, it's like we've been through so much. His best friend like turned on him and killed his new best friend, and then he was like trying to save the both of them, and then he just stabs himself and he's dead.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, at least he gets to go home. And
Yeah.
then I was
like-
like, he'll get home. His mom is probably gonna be pissed off that he disappeared for however many days he disappeared, because again, time doesn't exist in Squid Game.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, like
you know.
this is the part of the story where you get a reprieve.
No,
yeah,
but this
like,
is
you
the
get to-
part
you
he
get to
he
catch your
needs
breath.
he needs to have everything taken away from him, and he can't have anything that brings him back to normalcy.
Yeah, no, they just kick him again. It's
Yeah.
like, nope, sorry, you left your mom alone while she was sick and she died.
Yeah, I was noting the one thing I just noticed though. I was talking about how they dropped him off in Yoido. A lot of a lot of the real world stuff takes place in Yoido,
Mm,
and also pointing out Yoido is the banking district.
hmm
So,
Oh, that could have relevance.
yeah.
And
Hmm.
has the writer director mentioned anything about that?
I haven't seen anything, but I just one
Maybe
thing I
nobody
pointed out.
thought to ask him about that. Like, so why did you set all of your settings in Yoido?
Oh, we
Was that
also
intentional?
know if we ever get Gihun's debit card, we all know his PIN
We all
number.
know. We all know the pen number.
0456.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's not a good. Oh, of course that's his phone number. Oh, that's 456. That's his number.
Jersey number.
That's his
Yeah.
Jersey number. Oh yeah. Okay,
456.
I got it. I
Ah.
got it. I don't-
Oh, okay.
You know, I don't see any
You
preachers. in
didn't connect
Yoido.
that?
I
until
told
just
you
now?
I'm slow. I tell you,
I
it takes me a
completely
few watches to get the obvious stuff.
I completely forgot what his PIN number was, to be honest. I wasn't paying attention. I was just like, oh, look, well, the money is there.
Yeah, whose birthday is 0456? Oh yeah.
It's not
Mhm.
anybody's birthday.
Did you notice how he's borrowing Manon from everybody?
Mhm.
Yeah, he didn't want to touch the money. Yeah.
From like in the very first episode, he borrows Manon from the creditor who beats him up, and then at the end he borrows Manon from the banker who wants him to do the thing.
Yeah. And the banker made sure to wanted him to do the VIP savings account.
Yes. And he's like,
We're trying to turn you into the world's trying to turn you into a VIP now.
Yeah. Like my whole thing was that it was like I could understand him kind of like shutting down all of that. But I was just like, you left Sebyok's brother in the orphanage. I don't care how sad or upset or disenchanted with the world. You take care of her brother. You promised her.
Yeah.
She was dying and you promised and you didn't do it. And it's a year and you're just living like a bum and you're not touching money. And I'm just like, I can't deal with you. I can't feel bad for you because you left her brother in an orphanage. Even if you couldn't take care of him, you could have done something.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's my major rant. That's like the one thing that annoyed me more than anything was the fact that for a year he doesn't keep his promise. And it was like, you fail as a father again.
You go feel bad for a week. Feel bad for a week and then take care of the kid. Yeah.
Like, and even if you don't have your shit together, at least like try to figure something out to help him. Don't leave him in an orphanage.
Yeah.
You know, and he didn't even take care of him in the end. Like he finally gets him out of the orphanage and then he dumps him on Sangwoo's mother.
Yeah. Yeah.
With a suitcase full of cash.
And he must have really stunk too, because he was sitting on the subway. He was sitting on the green line and people weren't sitting next to him. Mm-hmm. And that green line's always crowded.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, true. But and then I take that because at the end he does leave him with Sangwoo's mother, but we don't really know if it's like for good or if it's just while he's off to LA to see.
That's a possibility too.
So it might have been too harsh on me to be like, you just dumped him on somebody else, but that could have just been a temporary situation until he came back. But still, he could have.
That was his way of taking care of Sangwoo's mother and the kid at the same time. Putting them together, and then she has somebody to take care of, right? And he has somebody to take care of her. Like it made sense to me,
and you could tell that was her character. Is she likes taking care of people.
I'm just like, couldn't you have done that 9 months earlier?
Yeah, true. Although giving the kid, his name is Chol, I think, giving the kid to Sangwoo's mom means that we are denied our 80s buddy comedy movie of.
God.
Taking the kid and
the spinoff,
doing a road trip to Manchuria to find his mom and arguing, bickering but bonding along the way.
I was thinking like a Beverly Hills Different Strokes type of sitcom going on. Beverly Hills Hillbillies. Yeah.
It sounds kind of like Logan, but then it also kind of sounds like 3 Men and a Baby, so I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Maybe a mixture of the two.
It depends how they want to play it,
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Before then, yeah. You know how you always tell in the Korean drama someone's sad. Solo drinking.
Oh yes.
That's the trope you have to do. Solo drinking. Someone drinking by themselves. Mm-hmm. You gotta do that. Yep. And they drink a whole bottle of soju.
Sitting on a curb, and somehow their hair is wet.
Even if it's not raining.
Their hair is always wet. I don't know where the wet came from, but it's probably better not to think about it.
Yeah, I'm like, maybe you don't want to know why the hair is wet. Don't ask. Yeah. Don't ask questions unless you're sure you really want the answers to it, Rob.
There's a reason they have that sign above the urinals. I like, the little "take one step closer, sir" sign above. They have above urinals now.
Yeah, but people don't follow that.
No, they sure
don't follow that. No, and the sink too. I don't understand how much water can miss the sink. Ever notice?
It flows directly into it.
Yeah, but the sink, it's a water park all around the sink.
You gotta put your hand right under the thing to get it to spray that far. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just people doing that. Yeah. Anyway, we noticed these things at our office. The big apex of the whole episode, I think, is Oil Man and Gi-hun in the hospital on Christmas, the last 30 minutes of Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
And Oil Man dies precisely on Christmas Day.
That's-
And plot twist, he was behind everything.
Mm.
If you hadn't guessed it by then.
There's also a conspiracy theory that he faked that death too. That there might have been some drug in that water he drank that shut his vitals down for a bit. But no, that's not the case because Frontman came later and closed his eyes and everything. So that's not true. But I did notice this time with the game he was doing about the homeless man at the bottom. He was turning Gi-hun into a VIP.
Or at least trying to.
They were watching someone suffering as a game
From
behind the
far
glass.
Did actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was turning him into a VIP.
And making a bet on it too.
Yep. They were doing that.
And it was an all or nothing bet, just like in the Marvel game.
Yeah.
The very last thing.
Yeah. Now, was it a foreigner that got the police to help the homeless guy? I couldn't tell the way the guy walked and looked. They had like.
I couldn't really tell. I don't think we really saw his face. I just remember seeing the back of his head and he was wearing like a stocking hat or something.
To me, there's just some weird way foreigners tend to walk. I mean, as in non-Koreans tend to walk in Korea. And he just seemed to walk.
But like he's loping down the
Yeah,
sidewalk.
he's loping. He's loping. I don't see Koreans lope. I was
Walk
wondering
like
that.
a 외국인.
Yeah. Also, I'm pretty sure the hospital was in Yoido too.
Everything comes back to Yoido.
Yeah, I think
Maybe
it was
they just had like 1 day of filming in Yoido. They're just like, listen, guys, we only have 36 hours from the city hall. We got to get it all in right now before
it was
there's another
Yoido,
lockdown.
it would be like St. Mary's or something, but St. Mary's doesn't have
I didn't think it was
a window like that.
hospital. I thought it was like a private building. And he
That's
had,
a
like,
possibility too,
hospital
because
bed.
what
It looked-
what
That's
hospital
what I
would have
thought.
a grandfather clock in it? Yeah.
It wasn't a
Yeah.
hospital. It was
It
like
wasn't
just
a
a big
hospital.
empty corner office
Okay, that would
with a
make
hospital
sense.
bed set up in it.
Because it looked like there was an entrance to a hospital where the homeless man was.
Mhm.
Or the drunk man.
Yeah.
We didn't know if he was homeless. He
could've
might have
been.
just been drunk.
I thought he was just a drunk guy passed out on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
I didn't really think he was a bum or anything. It was just like,
Yeah.
oh, look, there is
Yeah.
that. Because
Yeah.
how many times have we walked down the street in Korea and just seen a random
Just-
drunk person passed out on a sidewalk or
And looked the other way. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. But the foreigners
Usually-
found him and did something about it. And they naively thought the Korean police would care about it. Fantasy movie.
What where a person goes to get the police and the police actually follow them back and are like,
Mhm.
let's do something.
Do something about it.
Yeah.
But then again, usually when I see Korean police doing anything, it is handling drunk people.
I feel like that's the majority of their job,
Yeah.
just dealing with drunk people.
Handling the abuse. Yeah, that's all. Honestly, those are all the notes I had about the last episode.
I feel like Rob had a lot of notes. I was looking
really?
through. I was looking through. I'm not sure if they were notes or just whatever, but I was like, "Whoa, Rob wrote a lot."
Oh, you did? Okay, well, I can follow Rob's notes. I did want to go through some trivia. Well, Gi-hun is played by Lee Jung-jae, who's I can't even believe I didn't go through this in the first episode. I was meaning to. One of two actors to win the Grand Slam of Best New Actor, Best Supporting Actor, and Best Leading Actor at the Blue Dragon Film Awards. He's been in a lot of big movies. Typhoon, I remember Typhoon. Maid, Assassination, and his acting breakthrough was in 1998 with An Affair. But this is the thing is the actor himself has had 2 drunk driving incidents, so he's had a little bit of controversy. And he was associated with some stock trading scandal that was dismissed. But this is the other thing is like he used to be Yoo Jae-suk's carpooling mate in the 90s when they were both trying to make it up in the world. Yeah, they would
But-
drive
My
each other
dog
to
just-
work.
Sorry, my dog can't decide if he wants to be on this side of the curtain or the other side. So if you see it moving behind me, dog,
It's not a
Pippin.
ghost.
It's not Pippin this time. It's actually Morgan, because Morgan didn't want to leave the room when I shut the door, and I was like, "Cool, you're the quiet one." And now he's just like running circles around.
Oh, okay. The red hair.
It's this one.
Everyone talks about the red hair and what it symbolizes.
First, one more thing about Lee Jung-jae. He was like a heartthrob when he was younger, like he was the hottie back in the day. That's reported from Roboseyo. He was a total like hottie heartthrob back in the day. So when he's playing like a down and out loser with a black eye, that's a big play against type for him.
Ah.
So that was, like that's that'd be like
I don't know. Well, we can figure that out.
Yeah, like Anne Hathaway playing Fantine in Les Miserables, right? Like the glamour girl playing like, the poor girl who's like that's kind of what's going on there.
Wait,
wow.
Is it like Leonardo DiCaprio playing the slave owner dude in Django Unchained?
Maybe if you consider Leo's image to be like he's the nice guy and now he's playing a not nice guy.
I always thought, well, actually, I don't know.
No, I think I would say it's Alec Baldwin's roles.
Oh, that's probably better.
Yeah, because he was always the heartthrob, and now he's in trouble with
With everything.
Yeah,
So-
but like some like stuff like 30 Rock and stuff, he was kind of more of a comic relief. He's more the ajashi.
But he's kind of parodying his former image.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't know. I don't think Lee Jung-jae is parodying his former image. He's just like completely going in the opposite direction. Right. So that's it, more like when Charlize Theron made herself look unpretty for Monster, just like, whoa, that's Charlize Theron, right? Like going, being this total loser who's, and like you see blemishes on his skin through the whole thing and bruises, and he's smiling like down and out, hard on life, right?
Yeah.
Well, Eileen Wuornos was pretty down on life. It's a real serial killer.
Yes. Amazing performance too. But
yeah.
But
it's like Sandra Bullock in Unforgiven, her new movie.
Oh.
Where she plays a woman who killed in cold blood and spent 20 years in prison. I haven't seen it yet, but I've seen the trailers and it's completely unlike Sandra Bullock. Not it's yeah.
But are we going to talk about Ronald McGeehan?
Who? Oh, Ronald McGeehan. Yeah, the hair. What was with the hair?
So there's all these theories about it. One thing is like it's kind of like the red pill in the Matrix. My other thing is when they were playing what is the game again at the beginning? Tachiki? No.
Dakchi.
What color which one was red? Because I think he would play blue. He played blue then, and then the other guy played red. So I was starting to see like maybe, I don't know. Red has some type of symbolism in the show. The director says it's not much symbolism. He was just
sticking
to
to
do
a
something
color
weird.
scheme.
Yeah, it's doing something weird.
I've got a Newsweek article open here that says the director felt the Gi-hun of that moment would do something crazy he would never have been able to do before, and that's when the red hair came to mind. Hwang explained in a recent interview with SBS News.
Oh, yeah.
You could say it signifies how Gi-hun cannot return to the past, noting the color also represents the character's fury and rage.
That's so on the nose. Yeah.
It's like, couldn't they have done that with a better hair color?
Does it have to be something deeper and more nuanced? Let's talk about the fact that it was dark cherry rather than
Yeah,
Rather
yeah,
than
that's
orange
fine.
Rather than Marshino, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe he just wanted to have crazy red hair. I mean, I sit here
Yeah,
with pink hair. Sometimes you
it's a
just
midlife
want
crisis. I remember my first boss in Korea just came to work one day with red hair, a red hair dye. Yeah, I'm serious. He came in with a red dye job.
Wow.
And we're like, oh God, someone's having a midlife crisis.
Sometimes you just want something a little out there.
Yeah, that was a little rough. Yeah. Um, yeah,
Granted,
okay.
pink looks a little bit better on me than that red looked on Yoon. But when I
Yeah.
first got it done, it was electric purple. This is
Oh,
3 months of
yeah, I
taking
remember
it
that.
off.
Oh, yeah.
It was pretty right. It was pretty right. But yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't Lee Jung Jae's best look.
But hey, Gyun wanted it, so I mean he's cool.
Mhm.
Go. I mean, do you, Gyun? Do you? You walk down the street proudly with that bright red hair.
Well, what should he have done instead? A facial tattoo? I mean,
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
He would
Pierced
have
his
got it in
ear.
like a tattoo on his wrist or something.
Well,
tattoo on his wrist.
yeah, that's really. I'm looking at all my trivia. I think that's all the trivia I have. I've given the rest during the other episodes.
Are we ready to talk about like that ending? We completely skipped over the ending.
Oh, the ending. Can we talk about the ending? Really, it's just like, honestly, the final episode wasn't that. Okay, fine. Talk about the ending.
See, first of all, I actually like that. Like, I like that the final episode took its time. Because I like, what was it? One of the formative stories of my, of the last few decades was Harry Potter, where like after they killed Voldemort, they like wrapped up the entire story in about 12 pages. So
Yeah.
having a show just be like, okay, you saw the win that you wanted. Now let's like get into his head for a bit. Let's
breathe
recognize
a bit.
that.
Breathe a bit.
Let's
Yeah.
recognize that it's not just about the win. Like after the win, there are consequences too.
Yeah.
I liked that we kind of followed him around and saw, okay, well, this is how he's relating to life now. It does set the stage for a season 2, even if they weren't planning one, but it also says that, it's not just about the happy ending, right? If they cut it short, too short, it would have been like, okay, well, he won, woo. And that wouldn't have been of a piece with the rest of the show.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We'd see how it affected him and everything. And then we had to have the oil man bit and
Well, yeah, we had to know for sure that Ildam was behind everything.
we had to know that. I mean, there's that one scene where Oil Man is taking off his owl mask and he's telling Frontman that, there's something about actually being in the games than watching it. And, Frontman gives this look like, yeah, I know. I get you,
Preaching to the
dude.
choir, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I thought it left like a good window open for more seasons. I think at the time that I watched the last episode, that was before they announced it, but the director has come out and said that they've definitely signed on. There's going to be season 2.
Yeah. I don't know if he has any teeth left.
Well, he then did an interview later saying that season 2, Gyun was going to be back, the frontman was going to be back, they were going to face off, which I was just like,
Don't give it off too much.
Well, and also my friend, shout out to Miranda again, who has like all the best ideas. She actually had a good idea for something that she would have liked to have seen, which is rather than having season 2 go straight into the next Squid Game where we have Gyun trying to face off with the frontman, do a season where we go back in time and we get to see the frontman competing.
Well, they're definitely going to do that. I think they're definitely going to do flashbacks for frontman.
Right.
Yeah.
But it would have been cool to have like, because the season, I mean, it's a short season. It's like 9 episodes. So I feel like if we had like 9 episodes of diving into who the frontman is, Then when it comes to the third season where they face off, it's a harder decision because you get to see both sides and you dig into it and you're like, I feel bad for this guy. So it's not so clear who is like, he's the bad guy, but maybe he's like a more sympathetic bad guy.
You can just add a lot more complexity in. Right.
I don't see that. I don't see that's not the Korean way of doing things. No, they got to do everything in flashbacks. It's got to be bonk bonk on the head flashbacks.
Which, I mean, he's pretty much confirmed like season 2 is going to be, Gyun facing off against the front man. And I'm like, cool. But
that's so predictable, and that feels like fan service to me.
If you did it this way,
I want to see because the one thing is the guy that he saw playing the game at the subway, and he stopped him, but they didn't show what happened. They didn't show what happened after he took the card away from him. Who knows if he might have gotten his information, and that guy might be one of his inside partners in crime.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just kind of like, so are we gonna see more Gong Yu in the next season?
I think he's actually a really interesting character, right? And he's more mysterious than a lot of the other ones because you see so little of him, and he's just, he's got that face, he's got the he's got that energy about him.
He's literally only in like I think he's only in the first and the last episodes for like
just the first and the last. Like I don't know, maybe he needs his own episode, like how did he get so good at Dakji? I mean,
how did he get wrangled into this? Is he a previous Squid Game winner? Is he Ilnam's son? Like
and that, I mean, okay, like
what does he?
But on the other hand, like, I'm kind of torn here because a lot of the time sequels, like you take a sequel to a really tight, taut, tense story like this, and the sequel, a lot of the time they like expand the world and they spend so much time explaining.
Yeah.
Matrix and then Matrix 2, Maze Runner and then Maze Runner 2, Hunger Games and then Hunger Games 2. And they try to expand the world and they start to explain things that didn't need to be explained the first time. Yeah. But if you're going to spend more time in the world, maybe you do need them explained, but explanation is boring. And it's a really tough bind because like, I don't want to know how they came across remember when we found out that Han Solo got his name when he was trying to get through and so you're by yourself, so I'll call you Solo.
Oh yeah, Solo. Yeah.
Okay, like I don't need to know why they decided they should have triangles on their masks. I don't care. They might explain that. Yeah, that explains that's like, oh, and then he accidentally left his red shirt in the washing machine, and then their suits were pink. Like, who cares?
With it, yeah.
I don't want to. I don't want to know that stuff. It doesn't make it more interesting to me. I'm tired of Easter eggs. I've watched too many Marvel stories where it's like, hey, wait a minute, that guy's a character in a comic. I don't need it. I don't want it. Just give me more Squid Games with interesting characters that I can care about. And I don't need to know, that it was snowing when they were born.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, well, I guess, and now he's got to come up with a whole new group of games. There's like
he says he has a lot of them. He has a lot of them, he said. Yeah.
He's got tons and tons of games. So that's the easy part. But then okay, so how is Gyun going to defeat the front man? What is the front man's backstory? Is Detective Nine Lives really dead?
He's not dead.
Of course not.
He's gonna come. He's probably gonna come back.
See, I think that season 2 we're gonna have frontman Detective Nine Lives and Gi-hun all in the Squid Games together.
You think the front man is actually gonna play?
I think something's gonna happen. Like,
yeah, because I think that was hinting at it when Ilnam was telling him something about being in the games, and like maybe he'd be tempted to go back in it.
I don't think he'd put himself in, but because nobody's seen his face, once he's in there,
He might do
Right.
it just to because he's like, June's back. I gotta be in the games to take him down. I could see that.
I still don't think. No, I really
or-
still don't think. I still don't think that the underlings knew that Ilnam was,
Yeah, I think that's true.
because
as
he was
well.
always under a mask too when he was with them. Only Frontman knew what he looked like in real life.
Well, and then whatever guards didn't actually shoot him during the marble game.
Yeah, that's true. But maybe Frontman told him not to do it.
Mm.
Yeah. okay.
Or the mysterious suit guy is Ilnam's illegitimate son or grandson, and he swoops in and is like, I'm gonna take control of this ship. And then he forces the front man to play.
Oh.
And so then the two guys who were supposed to be enemies in the next season are now suddenly
That might be it. That might be Frontman is demoted.
they have to team up together to take down the real bad guy, which is Gong Yu.
he wouldn't even need to be demoted. You just you knock him out and change uniforms, and you've got the mask on, so you look like Frontman, and he's got
And
the mask
nobody-
off, and
yeah.
he's in there at the door shouting, "Listen, guys, it's me!" And they're like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Right?" Like
Exactly. See?
once he's in there, what's he gonna do, right? So then he's
Yeah.
got to look around and kind of
It's
start
like-
making allies and make the best of it.
It's like I'm a mystery writer or something, guys.
I don't know. I think they should sign you for season 2, Emma.
I think they should too.
Mhm.
I think I'm good at this mystery thing.
Yep.
Is there something
I
you'd like to
should-
tell us about Emma?
I should be on a short list to write that one. Does nobody see my Facebook? Oh,
Mm,
I've only been talking about it forever.
Yes, I saw your Facebook, Emma.
Okay, so that's all. That.
Congratulations.
Okay,
I know.
you acknowledged it. It's good. We can move on.
I was feeding you is there something you'd like to tell us about it? I was feeding you your plug there, buddy.
I can do a
This-
shameless plug. I am on
I'm the guest here, and I'm
Yeah, Joe's just yeah.
just and the inmates have taken over again.
oh, fine. Take it over. That'll be season 2. You guys take over.
Joe
just
knows
sits
this is
back
what
and,
happens when
me
I
and
come
Rob-
on.
Yeah, we're supposed to be talking about a TV show, and we're like, by the way, Harry Potter. 10 minutes.
Okay, so imagine the scenario. Let's set the scene.
Yeah, I had a little thing about how each game represented a different stage in people's lives, but
I'd like
I'm
you to
looking-
unpack
Oh.
that, Joe.
I'm looking at it. I don't like it anymore. Okay, so like I was saying, the first game of red light, green light was symbolized birth and childhood, and how you start out in life without knowing the rules, and how much luck plays a role in it, because that's the first one where did they even know that they're going to die if they don't
No.
if they mess up.
They were just told if you get caught, you're eliminated, which I mean, yeah, naturally you'd be like, oh, I'm out.
You're
Yeah.
out. Better go to the back of the line.
Yeah.
Nope. Eliminated means you're dead. Good
Yeah.
luck.
Yeah, and the second game, the Dalgona, it made me think of is the school years and studying, and I just noticed this is where the idea came from, was when I was watching it the second time, and everyone looked like they were studying. They were so focusing on their studies and not anything else. They were not playing. They were just so focused on their work.
They're all kind of folded in on themselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I hear what you're saying.
You see what's going on there?
Mm-hmm.
I can
Okay.
see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
it's a very individual practice, like studying for a test, studying
Yeah.
for a thing. Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right,
okay.
and
And then I
after
couldn't
that-
figure out with the night fight how that figured into anything, if that was anything.
High school is a cutthroat place. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe so. The tug
Middle
of
school
war
bullying.
was starting
school
out as an
bullying.
adult, and you have to learn to work as a team
Okay.
Mhm.
when you're an adult. But then the marble shows that later on, though, in order to progress, to get promoted, you have to play office politics. You have to manipulate to get
Yeah.
ahead.
And the rules can change.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
often
Yeah.
without you even realizing that they're changing, as in case with Ali.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ali thought he was playing one game, and then it turns out Sangwoo is changing the rules. Oh my god, Morgan,
Yeah.
stop it.
Yeah, and then maybe the final Squid Game is like, I don't know if you get to a certain point in life, if you're trying to get that far ahead or not. It's a big test of what you finally get to a point where you have to figure out what is your moral compass. Are you the type of person who just is ruthless just to win, or you're the person who will actually just stop the game?
You missed the glass bridge.
Oh, I missed the glass
Oh,
bridge. Oh yeah,
yeah.
see the glass bridge.
What
So
is that?
what does that symbolize? Yeah, you're right. What does that
I mean,
symbolize?
I think, that's just kind of like an extension of what are you willing to do to get ahead? Are you willing to like push the guy in front of you off?
Again, it's
Maybe it's
more
like-
of getting ahead.
Mhm.
And there are a few choices that you make that can really be make or break, like who you marry or which career you go into.
Mhm.
You know, sometimes that first job you get
Yeah.
can really be like, you know, if you make the wrong choice with the person you marry, that could screw you for everything else, right?
Yeah, you see,
if you make the wrong
see when
choice.
I think about it that it falls
Mhm.
apart when I start doing that. Yeah.
I mean, I could see. I don't know. I would see the last game as like you get to a point in your life as an adult, I guess, when you have to decide what's important to you.
Mm-hmm.
Are you like, what are you willing to sacrifice for? Is kind of like the way I took it. Like, so you have Kyun, who is like, what's important to him is like, you know, he wants, you know, his friends, family, like life, maintaining that sort of thing. And then Sangwoo is just like, I mean, even though in a way it was kind of like what was important to Sangwoo was money.
Yeah, with the Machiavellian thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like if he couldn't have it, then he didn't want to go back. You know, that sort of, he's just like, end it now. And so I don't know. That's kind of when you were mentioning that, I was thinking like, oh, that last game to me, I saw it as like people deciding what's most important to them. And Kyun was like, my buddy, my friends, human life, let's live. And Sung was like, yeah, I'm losing that money. Time to go.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. You could probably interpret that a million
I'm
different ways.
over.
There probably is.
looking
And
at it.
like, there's probably somebody out there who has a grand theory of the game order. But I feel like that's the point where, you know, like those are the people who are like, you know, in the first line in each scene where the Joker speaks in The Dark Knight, if you count the letters and get the numerical value of his opening lines in every scene, and then you correspond those with the Bhagavad Gita, then you find that, you know, Adam Smith was right all along.
Yeah, I get it.
Like,
I know.
You know what?
I didn't even catch that his freaking pin number was his number in the game. So
Yeah.
just like, what? Yeah, it wasn't until you guys mentioned it. I was like, oh.
Yeah, the things I notice and don't notice. Yeah.
I saw this video one time where I think it was what was the name? The guy who directed Get Out.
Jordan Peele.
Jordan Peele, yeah. Where they read Jordan Peele some of the Get Out fan theories on a YouTube video, and he was just reading it like, okay. You know, like there were a few like, yes, I am making a commentary about race. But the rest of them were all just like,
where did this come
We find these things,
guys.
you know.
Yeah.
People like to dig into stuff and find.
Oh,
meanings
I'm
there.
notorious for this. I mean, in the
if
early
you're doing
days of the
freeze frame
internet,
screenshots, you're probably gone too far.
I was in
Go ahead, Joe.
I was in an AOL chat. This is 1995. No, it was 94. I was in an AOL chat with Terry Gilliam. And they were taking questions, and they took my question. I was talking about how the Knights of Ni was a comment on censorship. And was I correct, or was I looking too deep? And Gilliam goes, "You were looking way too deep." Nothing to do with that. It's just
who say
knee.
Is
It's just
funny.
knee.
Knee.
It's
That's
funny.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
a funny noise. That's literally all there is. To
I'm
When
the
they all
type
say
of
knee
person who does
together,
that.
it's funnier.
Yeah, that's me. I'm just that type of person who does that. I am just.
That's like
that's okay.
I took English literature as an undergraduate, so that's like I'm kind of wired that way too. But there's there's a point where it's like, okay,
the hat is just a hat.
There's a point where a hat is just a hat, a cigar is just a cigar, and not everything has to represent women's fertility
Or Christ. Everything
or
has
Christ. Yeah,
everything's
that's right.
a Christ symbol.
That's right. And Superman is not Jesus. Superman is Moses.
As a writer, I get it. Like, there's a lot of times where I'll write certain things and then somebody be like, oh my God, especially with like the mystery that I wrote, I would comment like, oh my God, da da da. And then I'm like, oh, where
I think I did that to you, didn't I?
Yeah, you did that. You were talking.
I did.
You made the.
You were like, oh, your main character's name is a literary reference, right?
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, that's our literary reference.
Oh,
I was like, no, her named after the flower.
Yeah.
Her parents are from a small town in Oklahoma and they barely graduated high school. I'm pretty sure she's not going to name her after Daisy Buchanan.
Yeah.
Who lived in a trailer park. No, she's named after the flippin' Daisy, the flower.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, I was like, no, but I could make it. And then I ended up I actually ended up writing a scene shortly after that where they're fighting over, her roommates are kind of drunk and fighting over which movie to watch. And one of them was like, let's watch Gatsby. And Daisy's like, no. And her roommate's like, be my Daisy. And she's like, no. And she actually says, I'm named after the flower, idiot. And then walks into
Fantastic.
yeah.
You gave me inspiration. I did actually include that conversation in the book.
I love it.
So now you have to read it to get to that point because I'm not going to tell you what it is.
Of course.
I gave it to you months ago and you still haven't read it.
That's true. I'm a bad friend.
I'm going to shame you in front of the people.
Do it.
Everybody message Rob and tell him that he needs to read my novel, which is on a short list for an award.
Bad friend.
All two of our listeners. Yes.
Yes. All two of you go after Rob.
If I get two mean emails next week, I'm going to cry.
And then read my novel.
I'll read your novel even if I don't get 2 emails.
Well, I'm looking at your notes, Rob. I really like what you said about horses. I didn't even catch that either.
Yeah.
That he started at a horse race and then he was talking about how they're not
I didn't make that
horses.
connection either. Even though I remembered very specifically in the limo, they had that conversation. He's like, why do you do this? He's like, oh, you like horse racing. You guys are the horses.
Yeah.
And then at the very end, he calls him back. He's like, we're not horses. I'm not a horse. I'm a human.
And did you notice that the amount of money he won at the horse tracks was 4.5 million won?
Oh, really?
4 or 5? Yeah.
I didn't catch that.
I
I don't know if that, maybe that was just like, he's like, I'm too tired to think of a different number. So they're just all going to be very.
Everything's 4, 5, 6.
More zeros,
4, 5,
fewer
6.
zeros, more zeros, fewer zeros. Yeah.
So
but yeah,
4,
like
5, 6, and then
at the end,
40,
he says, right at the end, he says, like, humans are not horses. And I think the conversation now, if you want to get all, English literature pretentious about it, I think the conversation between Oilman and Gihon at the end, like that's where they're trying to tie a bow on all of the themes of the show and to say, like humans are humans. He keeps asking Gihon the question, like, do you still have faith in humans? Like, do you still believe in humans after all this?
Do you still
Gihon,
trust people? He keeps asking.
Yeah, he says, and that's bringing it right down to the question, like, do you still believe humans are good? Right. And that's,
do you believe in humanity? Yeah.
The idea that you could go through the Squid Game and come out of it still having faith in humanity. I mean, that's a expression of some really, what could we call it? Defiant hope. but then at the end, he chooses vengeance at the end, and I wonder about that, right? Like the idea.
We don't know that for sure.
Well, he's getting on the airplane to go see his daughter, and instead of going to see his daughter, he's like, "No, wait, I got a score to settle." So,
but he said he called so that he could rejoin the game, so he could trust people again.
I wonder. I feel like because he calls as he's like boarding the plane, so I feel like I wonder if he just called to like mess with them and be like, I can't believe. I don't know.
Like to taunt them or something.
Yeah.
Like
and then he was like, "Oh crap, this is
no,
not
but
gonna do
I love how
I can go back."
I love hearing. If you listen to it again, it's like the guy taking the call is like, "Just give us your name and your date of birth," and he says something back, and you can tell him like going, supervisor, could you take this call?"
I don't. Oh, this guy says he's not a horse.
Supervisor.
Yeah, but like he doesn't say I want. He doesn't say I want to go in the game, does he? Like he's just like, I'm coming for you.
But they say if you want to join the game, give us your name and your date of birth.
Well, that's the boilerplate. That's the standard answer when they answer the phone. But then instead of giving that, he says, some other stuff.
No, he says that. He says his name because
does he say his name and his birth date? I can't remember.
Yeah, because his birthday is like he's 7. I found out. Oh well, he's 7 months younger than me. Yeah.
So he gets his name and his
he's
birthday.
Born on Halloween.
Yeah.
And then he says, "I'm not a horse. I'm a human." So he's like,
I'm not an animal.
I feel like if it were me, I'd been like, "Sir, I just asked for your name and your."
But it's so creepy when they're like, "You just get back on that airplane." Like,
oh yeah, they know. They know everything he's doing. They know because he got the Rose Lady knew where he was and gave him. Yeah, they always know.
We did hear the front man in an earlier episode to give orders to keep watching all the people who didn't come back.
Yeah.
So shouldn't have been that big of a surprise that he knew that he was boarding a plane. I was like, oh, and then now I'm like, oh, right.
Yeah.
Calm down.
Yeah.
But I mean,
of course they know where he is.
What kind of TV drama would it be without an all-powerful villain who can, who knows what you had for breakfast this morning?
Mm.
How is that toast, Keen?
Mm-hmm.
Get on the plane.
And make sure you have some fiber for lunch.
That would have creeped me out more. It was like,
you're gonna have a hard time this evening if you don't.
You know that I'm getting on the plane, but like my dietary. I'm like,
that's right.
Do you have like cameras in my house?
Your doctor told you to eat more fruit.
Is there a bug? Do I need to like jump in a shower fully clothed? Like, what's going on?
Yeah. Okay. So we have. What are your takes, Rob, on the series?
Like, number one, I mean, a show like this is right in my wheelhouse. I love shows like this. The dystopian thing.
I hate the opposite. I hate dystopias.
Hunger Games Battle Royale.
No, you like zombie things. I hate dystopias.
Like, I'm all about that stuff, man.
No.
But like that's one of the reasons why I'm giving reservations about like if season 2 is all, we've got to expand the world and we've got to create the Squidverse. Like, no thanks. No thanks. Maze Runner was better when it stayed in the maze, and Squid Games will be better if they're not like trying to, oh, well, it's time to tell you the history of this secret organization. Like, I don't know, man. I don't need Hydra. I just want to see the games and some interesting characters, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's my worry about season 2. But this was an amazing series. I've been saying to people like episode 6, the Marble episode. I would put that on a short list with the best episodes of television I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Frankly. Like give me your, your Breaking Bad, give me your, like your Game of Thrones, Battle of the Bastards,
that was a good one.
Yeah, the Marble, I would put the Marble episode. I think the Marble episode stands tall with, some of the best episodes of television that have ever been made.
Mhm.
It was just, right from the first stomach punch at the beginning when it's like between the two of you, and everybody's going, shit.
Mhm.
Yeah, I feel
Um,
because like they're learning, the players are learning this as we, the viewers, are learning it, and so everybody's just like, oh god, all together.
Yeah, and then you every single person showed who they were in that episode, and then like at the end, it was absolutely devastating. But then like they even just the throwaways. Okay, you see the husband and wife at the beginning, kind of looking at each other, realizing only one of them is going to make it out of that game. You don't even see them during the whole episode.
Yeah.
Until the end when the camera pans by the wife lying on the ground
Yeah.
and you don't see anything else. You don't see how that happened. You just go, oh, it was her.
Yeah, I'm glad we didn't see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
We
think I
didn't
could
need
handle
to.
that.
We
one.
didn't need to.
It was like 20 stomach punches in a row.
Yeah.
And it's
We already had enough going on with that episode.
But they knew that, right? Like they were so
Mhm.
confident in their storytelling. They're like, we don't even have to show the husband and wife. We'll just pan the camera past her at the end, and everybody will go, oh yeah, the husband and wife, and that'll be enough. And we'll be like, that's a flex.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's a real flex of we are so good right now. So the final episode was almost as good as that. I thought actually when he gets home and he finds his mother and he has that conversation, conversations about the meaning of the show are a little heavy-handed, but they didn't go too far. It was cool to see Oil Man again, because he's one of the best performances in the whole series.
I agree.
Yeah.
But it was, it was an amazing season of television. And like we can sit around and talk about, oh well, why doesn't he step into the circle? But in the end, like, this is great television. So that's my main take. There have been a lot of takes going around. Are we going to talk about some of the takes?
Yeah,
we've
but I'm
heard?
trying to keep the show within an hour. I think we've already used up our hour.
We've already used our hour.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I agree. I think it was just like, it was a really great show. Am I going to watch it again? Probably not, because it's bad or anything, just because it was hard enough for me personally to watch it the first time through, just because like all the death, all the violence, everything, just like feeling like I'm getting stabbed in the stomach a couple times every episode. Like, just like, I can't, this is great. This is good. It was awesome, amazing. All the awards, I give them to you. I'm just not going to watch it again. It doesn't mean that I think it's bad or it is bad. It's amazing. I'm just, once was good for me.
Yeah, for me,
really
I mean,
I need to watch it again. I'm like,
I've already watched it
time.
twice, 2 or 3 times.
I barely made it the first time through. I'm like, this is good.
Yeah,
once
I got it.
Yeah,
I will totally recommend everybody else watch it, but I'm just like, got it once, good.
So like, there are a bunch of bad Squid Game takes that are like, listen, if you understand Nunchi, you can understand
that
Squid
stuff.
Games.
Oh,
Oh my gosh.
There are some bad ones, but like, I think the one that really hits me is I think the reason this connected with a lot of people is like this critique of the way that capitalism dehumanizes us, that money stress, that debt dehumanizes us, right?
Yeah.
And the idea that, like, here's the thing, okay? If you're running from creditors, there's no way you can win, right? A 1 in 456 chance of winning is better than your chance of winning when you're mired in debt and running from creditors.
And I thought it was so funny is right when it came out, a Korean bank advertised for a Squid Game loan. Yeah. There are lots of times I see around people don't get it. They do things without what I call it doing it without getting it.
Mm.
Yeah.
And they're like,
They're
oh,
like,
this
"We're
is the
gonna
cool
jump
thing
on
of the
this
day. We're going
bandwagon."
to jump on this one. And they didn't get what they were doing.
No, they
Yeah.
didn't jump on it. They kind of like jumped over it and then fell off the cliff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. I wonder when the revolution's going to come. But
when do we?
you know,
we march at noon or something.
Yeah, I mean, Korea's household debt is what, like almost close to 100% of GDP, right?
It's over 100%.
Oh, it's over 100%.
Yeah, which means there are a lot of Koreans feeling like the people who would sign up for a Squid Game, right?
Yeah. There's more money in debt than there's money coming into the country.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And Korea's not the only place where there's that feeling, right? And that's like that feeling of desperation. I think that's what connects. I think that's the universal appeal of all of these people trying their best and just not able to get ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And the people in power, instead of doing something to help, instead of throwing a rope, they're just looking down and be like, let's watch them degrade themselves a little more.
And then covering it up by saying, hey, if you just worked harder.
Yeah. Listen, you signed that paper. Yeah.
I am absolved of everything. Yeah, it drives me crazy. It's just like the cycle of poverty, you know?
Yeah, you voted for that leader. Yeah, and the cycle of poverty that it's.
And I am going back to America soon, where I am going to be facing predators. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah. So here's my question. They say there's going to be season 2.
Mm-hmm.
Is the season 2 going to be good? On a scale, this is down at the bottom. On a scale of Winter Soldier to Highlander: The Quickening, how good? Right, Winter Soldier, a sequel better than the original. Okay, that's your high point. Highlander 2: The Quickening, sequel really like epically bad. Okay, so those are your extremes. Where's Squid Game season 2 gonna fall? Is it gonna be like Toy Story 2, almost as good? Is it going to be, or just as good? Is it going to be Incredibles 2, almost as good? Is it going to be Iron Man 2, competent, but not remarkable?
Yeah.
Is it going to be
more like,
is it going to be Matrix 2, like bad, but not spectacularly bad?
Yeah.
Or somewhere in between Iron Man 2 and maybe Matrix 2. I don't actually know. I don't think it'll be bad. I don't think it'll just be outright horrible.
Yeah.
But I do think it's going to be really, really hard to top what we got in season 1.
Yeah.
It came out of nowhere. It's something that's uniquely Korean, but also incredibly universal at the same time.
Yep. Agree with that.
It had this concept that we've seen before, but we hadn't seen like this.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, I'm not quite sure, now that we know Squid Game, I'm just like, how are you going to surprise us? Or,
that's part of it. That's part of it. Like, one of the things about Matrix 2, Matrix 1 was so fresh. We'd never seen anything like it. Well, if you want to give somebody, like, how do you give somebody more of that when the thing they loved about it was it's so fresh.
Yeah.
Now, I'm thinking of, I think the kind of corollary I'm thinking of is Stranger Things.
Stranger Things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where Stranger Things was fresh. It was really good. But season 2 of Stranger Things was more of season 1.
I still liked it.
It was good. Yeah, if you
I've enjoyed. In fact, season 3 was better the second time I watched it. But yeah,
like you remember when they would do on the VCR box, they would do like, if you liked Home Alone, you'll like this. Right?
Yeah.
Netflix is really good at that.
Yeah.
Netflix is really like a lot of Netflix stuff. I feel like, if they just turned all of the screws one more time, it could go from very good to great. A lot of Netflix stuff is like that, where it feels like 90% finished,
Yeah.
right? But they're also really good at, okay, we found a thing you like, we're going to give you exactly that again.
But like times 10.
I'm not sure if that will land with Squid Game,
Mhm.
partly because like the critique of capitalism and greed, doing a cash-in sequel to a critique of capitalism and greed, like
we're doing it without getting it.
Yeah, I'm really worried that it's going to be, oh well, hey, now that we know that it's popular, we're going to bring in Steve Yeun, and we heard DiCaprio liked it, so and Stephen Colbert is going to be one of the VIPs, and and
yeah.
Actually, I think that could be kind of funny if Stephen Colbert was one of the VIPs. Actually, I might actually like that idea.
if they went high camp, that would be interesting in its own way.
Yeah, because I feel like if they pushed it a bit more, we could have gotten there, but it was just
actually, yeah, that's actually
Daniel.
A good point.
Daniel was our favorite VIP. I just feel like every time you mention VIPs, I feel like I have to say that Daniel's our favorite VIP.
That's actually like if they decided to just be like, okay, you know what, we're just going to go balls to the wall, total camp, like and make it a satire. Squid Game 2, the cash in. They might be able to pull that off if they were just like, you know what, we're just going to make this screamingly hilarious satire. But if they try to do more of the same, then I don't know. I think it might be more like Game of Thrones season 8, where it's like, well, did you even understand why people liked the first one?
Yeah. I just think it'd be like was the Peninsula, the sequel to Train to Busan. Yeah, it's just doing it. Just doing it. And the campy, ironic thing. I'm trying to think of any Korean media product that has done anything like what you're talking about, self-parroting, consciously self-parroting like this, tongue-in-cheek.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's out there. I wouldn't be surprised if that's out there.
I would like to know if it is. I would love to see it, but I don't see it. It's so much stuff is on the nose.
Reading tone is really cultural, right? And that's the reading tone. A lot of that stuff could, like, okay, imagine a Korean watching Blazing Saddles.
Oh God.
Okay, like the jokes wouldn't land just because you've got to grow up in a culture to catch some references and stuff like that, right? Yeah. So it's well possible that there are some great satires out there that just, you're probably going to miss a lot of what's going on here because like you have to have grown up watching 80s Korean TV to get those jokes.
But that was also another one of those gatekeeper articles. A lot of those were all about, well, you didn't explain all the stuff in the subtitles of what they were really saying and what it really meant, and which meant like you'd have to read a paragraph every time someone said 3 words to get all the context of what it means.
So it would maybe go against season 1 because you didn't need all that context, I guess, to understand enough to enjoy the show.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to. It's not up to Squid Game to explain Korean culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's like tone is hard, right? And it's hard to hit exactly that note. And you're especially with something like Squid Game, you're basically like doing, a tightrope on this angle and a tightrope on this angle as well in order to hit exactly that spot.
Right. Yeah. So it might not work exactly for this series, but like the director did say it's not coming anytime soon.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, we agreed to do a season 2. However, it's gonna be a while. Like,
Yeah, because it took him a year to write. It took him a year to write, over 10 years to get it produced. He lost 6 teeth while getting through it. He's not willing to die unless he's going to do an actual writer's room this time and have other people help him with it. But this, I don't know.
But I think that's better, you know, like the British way, where there'll be like 3 or 5 years between seasons of Sherlock. I think that's a lot. I think that's much better than the American way, where it's like, oh, well, it's another year, so we have to do another season, even if we don't have ideas.
Yeah.
Right.
And Stranger Things, like there have been 3 or 4 years between seasons of Stranger Things, and that's
there's
fine.
a reason for that though. But Stranger Things, I mean, they have to follow because each season is a year, and those kids aren't getting any younger, so they're under pressure.
So
to
they're
get those
like,
done.
yeah, we gotta.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess our storyline is now, But
yeah. When Finn
like,
Wolfhard finally graduates university and he's like 32.
No, I think this or next season will be the last. I think they're running out of 80s stuff because there's a certain part. Now I would love to do. I want to do another blog or series about stuff. I have this my theory, my concepts of the 80s, and there's certain periods. You know, like Beatles had certain periods.
Yeah.
And the 80s had certain periods. And there's a part where the 80s starts to become a mutation of itself, and it starts sound like a parody of itself. And that's around 87. It starts really getting that way. In which if a lot of people don't know, a lot of the 80s music and stuff we enjoy tend to, once we hit 87, there's less pop culture content from between 87 to Nirvana that has survived, that we listen to anymore or watch anymore. Yeah. The whole, I would say start with Paula Abdul. Start going on, and then
the transition from the 80s to the 90s was rough, and there was like, you know, hammer pants, and like it was, you know, neon push down socks and Days of Thunder sunglasses.
Yeah, and that's why we needed the palate cleanser of the grunge scene to just clear that out. And then there were some people who didn't even realize that we were sobering up, and they were still going on, and that was some of the crap music of the early 90s. People are like, what? Anyway, that's not the topic of this show. I'm not going to go into that.
Yeah, no, but I looked up, I realized, my 2 favorite movies from the 80s are actually from before 87. So I thought they were after, but they're not. Princess Bride and the Goonies.
Oh yeah,
87 and 85. Princess Bride was 87, Goonies was 85.
So that's my feeling about Stranger Things. I have a feeling like once they start hitting 86, I think that's it. There's
nothing else good from the 80s.
There's nothing really nostalgic to go for.
Unless we want to like take a break and then hit them up in the 90s when the kids reach that age.
Yeah, I read Ready Player 2, and again, that's how I think Squid Game 2 will be. They're trying to do more of the same thing, and it was not fun. And in fact, Wade was the main character of the first novel. Really was so unlikable in the second one. I think you didn't even want him to win. I think
Squid Game might end up more like Heroes, where there's just a miraculous first season that they could never live up to. I think Squid Game might be lightning in a bottle. I don't think they're going to be able to top it with season 2. They can do some flashy stuff, right? Like, oh, well, we've got money now, so let's let's put them inside a StarCraft game. But you know,
oh god, yeah, and then you started to think about it. You're like,
doing a video game.
Wait, we signed Will Smith. Like, yeah, you could do that stuff if you have a budget, but it's not going to make it better. It's not gonna like the nerve that Squid Game touched. You can't touch that nerve through increasing the budget or hiring expensive writers in the writers' room.
Yeah, I think Squid Game will go the way of Gangnam Style. It's going to be a zeitgeist. It's going to be like Tiger King. Tiger King's coming out with a sequel soon.
I'm watching it.
Oh, is it out now? Yeah.
Can you pause it until we finish this podcast?
Not right now, but like,
I'm just saying that.
Sorry,
right,
Emma.
yeah. I know, I get what you're saying. Like the first season is always just like, oh my god, and then the next one is just like, ah.
Well, it's just going to be, but it's a zeitgeist. I would say
Yeah.
Tiger King was a symbol of the early days of coronavirus.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and then Squid Game is really that's the zeitgeist of 2021 is Squid Game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it came at the right time,
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and it was singing the right notes.
Right.
Everyone
when our
remembers,
ears were ready for it. Yeah.
84 was the year of Ghostbusters, but people really don't remember that 89 was the year of Ghostbusters 2.
I
Yeah.
was hoping people knew 84 is the year I was born.
Oh, that was yeah. Oh, in the year Emma was born,
Yes.
making us feel old.
In the year of Our Lady Emma 1.
I say that because my birthday is literally 2 days from now, so
I know you're thinking of it.
don't forget.
Yeah. Okay, we will.
I was at your birthday party last year.
Why don't we wrap things
That's
up
true.
for
You were
Emma's
at my party last
birthday?
You hosted my birthday. No, Jennifer hosted it. Sorry.
Jennifer hosted it.
Jennifer hosted it, and I wish I was there because it sounded like it was a great time.
Oh,
We
it
had
was great.
such nice eggnog. I can show you a video of the eggnog.
I don't need the video of the eggnog.
I just remember. Oh God, the catchphrase. Watch the video. You'll get it.
All right. Just pointing out, I think we do have a Patreon. If you
We
go on
do.
patreon.com/SeoulPodcast, just chip in $5 in a month, and you get access to all of our episodes going back to 2008. If you're a glutton for punishment.
Or
Subscribe
maybe
to
they
us.
just love hearing your voice, Joe.
They love it. Oh gosh, they love it. Well, anyway, you can follow us on Twitter at King Sejong, and also Emma. You're at Emma. I always forget your Twitter. Your Twitter
It's
is Emma Kalka.
That's the one that I haven't changed that one. It's Emma Kalka. It's been that
And
way for a long time. It's
You
my
follow me
name.
on Zen Kimchi. Follow Rob at Roboseyo, right, on Twitter.
That's right.
That's
Yep.
a Twitter thing. Facebook, we're on Soul Podcast, and we're on YouTube as well. All right. Thank you for listening to all of our stuff. Any of more theories, comments, trivia you have about Squid Game, please write us. Put it in the comments anywhere you're watching this or listening. Thank you, Rob, for being with us today.
That was great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Emma.
As always.
Until next time, be safe out there.
Bye.
The Soul Podcast is a production of Zen Kimchi International, copyright 2021 under the Creative Commons license. Parts of this podcast may be used for non-commercial purposes if you remember to give us credit. You can contact us at sejong@soulpodcast.com. That's SEJONG@soulpodcast.com. Follow us on Twitter at King Sejong and on Facebook at facebook.com/soulpodcast. For a transcript of this episode, listen to it again and write down what you hear. See you next week. Until then, may the person falling asleep next to you on the subway not drool.